You're all right.
Good afternoon, everyone. The hour being 5:30 on Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. I will now call the Public Works and Service Committee meeting to order. Mr. Kritzloff, may we have the roll call?
Take it away.
Present.
Alder Jarrett,
Present. Present.
Alder Perez,
First order on our agenda is the approval of the minutes for our September 26th, 2023 meeting. Second. Motion by Alder Jerry, second by Alder Davis to approve the minutes. Any corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. The first item on our agenda is 0962-23, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services, submitting change order number 1 to the contract 2023224, Marquette Park Basketball Courts Upgrades, Bradford Constructions Contractor. Staff recommendation that the contract be approved in the amount of $836. Physical note funding for this change order is available in Parks Land Improvements. Mr. Mobeck,
Novak is not feeling well today, so I'll be filling in.
and you are Mr. Bosser. Thank you. You may proceed, sir.
Does anybody have any questions? Other than that, pretty well spelled out. So,
Thank you. Questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion then will be in order. It's been motioned by Alder Perez, second by Alder Jarrett to approve item 0962-23. Seeing no questions, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. The next item is 0956-23, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Culture Services to submit final payment for contract 2022233. Island Park bathroom upgrades, Rosh Construction and Engineering Group contractor. Staff recommendation that the work completed be accepted and final payment authorized for a total contract amount of $312,541.21. Final payment to include retainage. Physical note, the contract was authorized on the resolution number 0012-23 dated January 17th, 2023.
everything is finished up down there. We are extremely satisfied in how it turned out. We've got 2 events down there, and everybody seems to be pretty awed at how it turned out. It looks good, and it's a very nice improvement down there. Other than that, anybody have any questions on it?
Any questions from committee members? Seeing none, then a motion would be in order. Second. It's been motioned by Alder Perez, seconded by Alder Davis to approve item 0956-23. Seeing no questions or comments, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the city engineer requesting approval to establish an easement across city-owned property at southeast corner of Phillips Avenue and 16th Street as requested by We Energies. Staff recommendation that the request to establish an easement across city-owned property described above be approved. Further, that the mayor, city clerk, and necessary city staff be authorized to execute the easement document as requested by We Energies. Physical note, there will be a $30 recording fee. Mr. Mullender.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is an easement basically to get power to the new lighting cabinet for the lights, the lighting circuit that we're installing out there as we speak. Normally, this is all done in public right away, but there was basically a gas crossing underneath the sidewalk that we would have normally been utilizing that space in public right away. So We Energies wanted to go just beyond the sidewalk, a 6-foot wide easement for 25 feet along 16th Street, south of the south sidewalk, and a 6-foot wide easement, 25 feet long, just west of the west sidewalk on Phillips, just to basically get to the power drop, cross the sidewalk, down that easement, cross the sidewalk again to the cabinet that'll energize the lighting circuit and holding it. If the committee agrees, we recommend approval.
Thank you. Questions from committee members? A motion would be in order. Motion by Alder Jarrett, second by Alder Davis to approve item 0958-23. Seeing no questions, comments, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Our next item is 096023. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Commissioner of Public Works, submitting a request to amend the state municipal agreement for state project ID 2703-05-0272 House Street Bridge B51-067 6th Street over House Street. Staff recommendation that the city be authorized and directed to sign the amendment to the state municipal agreement for state project ID 2703-05-0272 House Street Bridge B51-067 6th Street over House Street. Fiscal note, the new estimated total cost of the project is $389,000 for design and construction, with the city share being $78,600. This is an increase of $5,000 for the design portion of the project. Funding for the city share will be provided from the 2024 through 2033 Capital Improvement Program budget. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is an amendment to state municipal agreement. We've already taken it through this committee and approved by Common Council. This is funding through the local bridge program for the resurfacing of the deck here on the bridge just outside of City Hall over the abandoned House Street right of way, along with some other minor improvements. It appears the state found some additional monies in the program and they're redistributing it. So we got an extra $5,000 allocated towards this project for design. So $4,000 of that will be paid for by the state and $1,000 by the city. So that's been allocated for the project. Committee agrees the appropriate action be to approve this state municipal agreement to authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the amended agreement.
Thank you. Questions from committee members? I just have one.
Yeah.
Is that the same House Street that runs by Johnson Wax?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So the little section underneath the bridge here, that's actually House Street. Parts of it have been vacated, but yeah, that one time that was platted right of way, so.
Okay. Because I was trying to figure that out. House Street stops way down. Okay, where do we get a House Street from?
Yeah, it actually-
It's all gravel.
Yeah, it even extended it right past water into the River's Edge back in the day, so,
Okay.
so that's how they were defining that bridge over House Street, so.
Learn
It's
something.
just the viaduct that goes into the pit, this parking pit as we call it. So,
Any questions from committee members? Seeing none, I will move to approve.
Second.
Motion by the chair to, and second by all the chair to approve item 0960-23. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Our next item is 0963-23. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Commissioner of Public Works, submitting a three-part agreement with the city of Racine, WisDOT, and Graph USA Inc. for an engineering service contract for state project ID 2703-05-01, Sixth Street Bridge over Root River, and state project ID 2703-05-02, Sixth Street Bridge over vacated Howell Street. Staff recommendation that the mayor and city clerk be authorized and directed to enter into a professional services agreement with Graph USA Inc. and WisDOT. Physical note, for the approved state municipal funding agreement, funding for this project is an 80% cost share by WisDOT and a 20% cost share by the city of Racine, plus 100% city cost over the funding cap specified. Funding for the project is appropriated in the 2024-2033 capital improvement plan. Commissioner Rumi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're submitting a three-party agreement between the city of Racine, WisDOT, and Great for design and engineering services for the above projects. The agreement is for the consultant design services for the rehab of both bridges, including deck overlays and associated work. This is a combined LEP project for one bid to reduce associated costs with various reports, environmental documents required, contractor staging, various plan sheets, standard detail and detour plans. The total amount of the agreement is $254,269.42, with the state share being $203,415.54, and the city share $50,853.88. Staff recommends the mayor and city clerk be authorized and directed to enter a professional service agreement with Great and WisDOT. The committee agrees appropriate action to direct the mayor and city clerk to sign and enter into the agreement. So Great was a firm that submitted a proposal for design on both this bridge here over Howell Street and then the next bridge to the west, that's the one over Root River between Racine and Mound. So that bridge too needs a deck overlay and some other minor repairs. Both of these bridges we applied for funds in the local bridge program. These funds were made available to the bipartisan infrastructure law. So we received this funding last year. We solicited proposals for engineering for both bridges. Myself, Ron, Air reviewed those proposals from all the engineering firms that submitted. And we selected Great for both of those. Great had a really great idea to combine both projects into one contract, reduce a lot of costs, a lot of overhead, and also convincing DOT that we should let these projects out at the exact same time for one contractor to do both, and it saves a lot of money on a lot of associated costs with developing the plans, and of course, mobilization for two contractors and different detours and stuff like that. So we selected Great and sent that selection request to the DOT. They approved our selection. They reviewed it. So we negotiated the three-party agreement to do the work, and that's here before you. And the cost they submitted is actually under this one we just approved. It's just only part of the monies that are used to fund this. The other one was another estimate that we brought through. And their agreement that they submitted is underneath the estimate that that we have, or actually underneath the funding allotment that we have in the SMA to pay for these services. So that's a good thing. So you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. Yeah.
So when do you anticipate that this project, once it's designed, to go out for contractors for bid?
Well, we'll go through the state select program, so we won't advertise the project by DPW, we won't open bids, they won't come to this committee, the state will do all of that. We are operating with the state select schedule, so this will likely, if it stays on the state select schedule, there's have to be certain milestone dates for them, because they only, they only let projects certain times during the year. Because there's certain dates that you have to have your plan specs and estimates and all your other documents completed by. Got to hit that milestone date and make those let dates. So if everything goes as planned, the let date should be 2025 early, and hopefully we'll get these two projects done later that year.
Thank you.
I would assume, midsummer and get them started or get them completed before fall. They shouldn't be very difficult projects of being overlay, deck overlays. It's not like the bridge project we just completed on West Sixth Street, which took about 14 months to complete. That was a complete reconstruct. So.
Any additional questions? Do we have any input into the design?
Not a lot, because there's nobody on the city engineer staff, and that includes Ron and myself that are structural engineers. Where most of our disciplines are transportation engineering, or there's various disciplines in civil engineering, but none of us are structural engineers, so our expertise is limited. Technically, could you do a project like this and have the DOT reimburse the city for 80%? But none of us are structural engineers. So we follow the design recommendations that come out of the bridge inspection reports. So all of our bridges have to be inspected every other year. So we have 26 fixed bridges, I believe, and 2 lift bridges, state and Maine. We have a consultant that does that every year. That's part of budget services in the CIP that you'll see. And then what comes out of those bridge reports that are required to be done and submitted to the state will be recommended action plans for maintenance. And then those bridges reach a certain sufficiency rating, which is kind of like PCI for pavement. When they fall below that, then they're eligible for bridge funding. And then that's when we go and apply to WISDOT for funding. So we try to maintain, like you'll see a lot of our bridges right now this last week or two. We've been sealing decks on them. We're closing half the bridge at a time. We do other types of maintenance on the bridge, especially the lift bridges. But at some point in time, we can't keep up with the maintenance, and they require bigger rehab, or in the case of West Sixth Street, total replacement. And then that's when we hire out structural engineers. And then based on those engineering reports, they'll give us a proposal for the engineering services. And then as they do the plans, if something changes, they discover something different, we may have to change things up. But they all speak the same language, the engineers that inspect the bridges and the ones that are doing the work. So,
Well, thank you. I just remember they were the firm that did 16th Street.
They were the transportation. That Grape also was the bridge engineer. If you remember back in 2018, we did an overlay over the Memorial Drive Bridge.
Yes.
North of 9th and south of 6th Street. Grape was the engineers for that bridge as well. Ayers was the engineer of record for the one at West 6th Street. So yeah, we're getting a different consulting firm in than we had last time for the West 6th Street Bridge. Very competent and capable structural engineering firm.
Any questions? Seeing none, the motion is in order. I will second. With motion by Alder Jarrett, second by the chair to approve 3-23. For the question, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Our final item is 0957-23. Communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the city engineer, submitting the assessment rates established for 2024 public hearing for the 2025 construction of Portland Cement Concrete Paving curb and gutter. Staff recommendation that the proposed special assessment rates be established for 2024, public hearing for 2025, construction of Portland cement concrete paving curb and gutter be approved per the attachment. Fiscal note, these rates are established such that the abutting property owner pays 100% of the cost of such street improvements. Mr. Mullender.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As stated, this is our annual assessable rates for concrete streets and alleys. I believe that's all it's on here. I don't think the gutters the utilities are not on here. But this reflects, my staff basically reviews their construction cost increase for the current year. And then you kind of have to bump it up for the same percentage that it went up from 2022 to 2023. You kind of assume that and a little bit more for 2023 to 2024, which was last year's. This is for 2025 construction. So, we're kind of going, I don't know if you have those graphs or not, but we're steepening the curve basically. We are going up about 6% a year now. If you want, I could go through every one of these. Otherwise, you could just read the memo, and these are the rates that we recommend for any road that comes up for public hearing next year, which will be constructed in 2025 in concrete. If the committee agrees, we recommend approval of these assessable rates.
Questions from committee members? Jared?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, this is a concrete pavement, not the asphalt.
Asphalt, we do a little different. It's because concrete is basically just a pavement where we assess, because the curb and gutter is not accessible because it's already been there. So it's basically the concrete pavement and the gravel underneath and the removal of the old pavement. So the assessment rate is a per foot frontage of each house, and from basically the flange of the curb to the center line. So your normal city lot in the middle of the block is about 40 feet wide. So you got, 40 feet times usually about 16 feet of pavement that they're covering. So whatever that, 40 times 16 times whatever in for the cost of that concrete pavement, usually comes out to about $74 per, or $88 per front foot per household.
If approved once, I'm guessing these prices will come up again when we look at those roads and stuff again.
These will be the rates when we have our public hearing next year, in May. These will be the rates that we send out in the letters to the property owners, and these will be the rates that are approved. And then when the actual construction happens, these are the maximum amount that we can charge the property owner. If the road comes in or these are under, then the city covers the difference. If the road actually comes and gets constructed a little less than this, we give the property owners a break.
If I may follow. So these rates are established so that whenever we bring in a road for public hearing for approval, we may have different width roads, that are coming in for a public hearing. So these establish everything by pavement thickness and by width of road. Because some roads, they may be considered local, some may be considered collectors, some may be considered arterial. So you have to have different pavement thicknesses for those various roads. That's why the different rates are on here. So like a good classic example, that would be Eaton Lane, which we just built this year. It's one road, but there are some properties on there that are not just residential, they were, commercial, for example. So they got assessed a little bit different rate. The pavement was still the same, but we then assessed the residential properties at a lower rate because it's not the residents' problem that they live on the street that are also maybe have industrial or commercial properties on. So the city will pick up that difference, and that goes along with the varying street width too. So a typical residential street is 32 feet wide, if you will, from the curb and gutter to curb and gutter there. And it's 7 inches. So that's typically what they'll pay if, say, we're building a road on a collector or an arterial. That's what we're going to max them out on. And it is important that the rates get looked at and adjusted every year for inflation and costs of construction, because to Era's point, if that project comes in and it comes in and we don't have these rates established where we believe they're going to be, the city is going to have to pay the difference out of GOB for the completion of that road project, because this is the max rate that we can assess the property owners. This will go out on the letters to the property owners that the city clerk issues next spring. And that's the max. Now, if the bid comes in really good and it's built for less than that, then we only charge what that amount actually totals out to be. So if the bid comes in lower, they'll pay lower than this approved rate. But if it comes in higher, this is the max that they're going to pay. Then the city's got to pay for the rest. So we got to be very close in this number. That's why we reevaluate these numbers and we bring them back every year, because the cost of construction goes up every year. We do show that in that graph, and we schedule public hearings in the spring. So just a little follow up. And it does have curb and gutter rates on it as well. And we do have utility rates on it for like water and services, in case there's an empty lot there. You know, we want to put sewer and water service in, you know, in case someone wants to build a home where they don't rip up a brand new street. So it does establish some of those prices for concrete paving, curb and gutter. So this will follow up to what I was saying, if that helps clarify some things.
Any questions from committee members? Seeing none. Motion is in order. Move to approve. Second, by the chair. Been motioned by all the chair, second by the chair to approve item 0957-23. Seeing no further question, all those in favor, please say aye.
Right.
Opposed? That motion passes. That concludes our agenda items for this afternoon. Thanks, everyone. We are adjourned.
So, yeah. We'll get a. We'll get together from the map. That'll probably have to be
So
included
now that
on the public.
there are some metal codes,
Agenda.
Good night.
For reports next week. What county council understands.
okay, I'm trying to get.
And it was- I know you want to put out some crowds and it did some like.
How's it called?
I'll have-
We'll get.
Fire.
Hydrant?
Sorry, fire hydrant.
Yeah.
So the fire hydrant, right? So like, okay, maybe the lead pan or something like that, because right on that corner is a big fire hydrant. I thought maybe the kids were gonna see it or something. But yes, I do have the only stuff, I try to follow it, because it's coming from underground, so it's coming from someone's house. So I'm gonna come and get a ticket to find out.
Yeah, I'll send Rome out from the water
Yeah.
utility. I know he was out there originally. And then I'll send out Richard from my staff.
Yeah.
Between the two of them,
Yeah. So no one, again, no one has to complain, like, I'm here, and I know that it's like, not the glass.
yeah,
glass
so
number.
we'll solve the.
Yeah. I was like, this is what it just mess up this, so I don't want to keep going like that. So, yeah, and no one says like, it's not from, I don't think it's from a house, I don't know where it's coming from.
If there's a hydrant right there, that's probably the culprit. Just, you know, simple flange or something could be, tearing it or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's a drip. And then you'll feel a ditch. rather than-
Yeah. Yes, and that's what I like, okay, it's not a big old pool of water, but it's still leaking, and it's.
And maybe there's like a spray or something.
Yeah.
I'll have their own check it out from water. utility. They have equipment that they can tell if something's leaking. They have a little, like a listen device lights that, they clip on and, you know, if it, well, I mean, you know, so it's their pipe, they can, and I don't know how it works. Anyways, they have equipment. They know how many.
It's another thing, like, you know, the whole time, but they're like, when they try to find water.
Yeah, the old Tarzan.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Right,
Wasn't quicksand supposed to be a bigger thing too? Remember, as a kid, you're thinking, man, I hope I don't ever come across
Yeah,
something.
like, right, all very big, but like, I always look at like any kind of like, I'm like, oh my gosh, quicksand. Yeah.
He's been good, we know that. Yeah,
There's a way to get it worked out. so.
always a way to do it.
All righty.
Yeah. I wonder why he stayed, because I was like, he didn't know what he wanted to do.
No, if you wanted to get some,
Now, the red referral
some
from the
lifestyle,
mayor,
and
we
then
good.
near
We'll
the,
get set up.
All right.
drive near the pole
Have
over
any
there.
problems, I don't think we
That's all
will.
the energy now,
Give me a holler.
and I don't think we have a plan.
Do you have a right home? Oh, yes, I have a car back. Hey,
Yeah.
Karen, we will
We have
see
it
you
ready. It's just,
on
Yeah.
Tuesday then.
yeah, the only lights were
Tell
in the
Tom I
budget
hope he
this
feels
year
better.
are, or for 2024 for around the healthy or.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll get some information.
Gotta go get it put Tara and. That has gotten a reaction from me, the shot of the food shop.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right, thank you,
So
Commissioner.
you can say something on the floor like, I need 200 Gs to put streetlights in over at the Park Bowl.
Over that way, I'm trying to, yeah, we gotta work it, I gotta work it the way down to get it up there. I'm learning those pieces.